Alright, you agile bastards. Here is my dexterity build for solo play for Code Vein. Before we get into it, I need to mention a couple of things. First of all, if you plan on playing solo, then weapons and armor need to be upgraded to highest possible rating at the time. Also, I would suggest using my Fast Haze for early game farming guide to get lots of levels. That makes things easier. Not easy, but just easier. I am around level 40 at the moment and I'm at the Cathedral, so I would suggest that you are about the same. Solo play in Code Vein is quite challenging, mainly because healing items don't heal as much. So you could use all healing items after just one battle that went wrong. So I've tried to mix up a lot of things in order for us to have more survivability and also to have more attacking options. This is what I came up with. I'm using Prometheus as my blood code because Prometheus gives me better stats than its counterpart Assassin. Assassin gives me higher mobility, but we can counter that. What we cannot counter are all the stat losses if we go for Assassin. We need all the help that we can get for solo play, that is why Prometheus is better choice than Assassin. I said that we can counter Assassin's quicker base mobility. We counter it by using Bayonetta that we get early on in the game from the depths called Bayonet Devour. That thing scales tremendously with dexterity and also has incredibly low weight, giving us quick mobility. So essentially we are playing this like an assassin but with more stats, basically a better version of the assassin. Only logical blood whale for this type of build is Nightclaw. We are not using gifts, instead we are using physical attacks strictly, and the Nightclaw has best scaling through dexterity. One of the passives that I'm using is called Sharpened Fangs and it is acquired from the Assassin. This increases our damage when parrying and doing backstabs. I suck at parrying, so I don't even use it, but it is fantastic for clearing out locations because backstabbing is relatively easy to accomplish, and with this passive it will do insane amount of damage. Versus bosses, I suggest switching this for something like health boost or weapon drain rating up. Next to that we have mandatory stamina boost. Considering that we are playing solo, stamina is extremely valuable. We are always in need of it. Then we have dexterity up. I'm using here strength and dexterity up, but I don't get anything from strength in this case, so you can just use dexterity. This puts dexterity to A rank. Last one is Eternal Blade Dance. This is last passive from Prometheus tree. It increases attack power when we dodge successfully enemy attacks. Self-explanatory. We dodge a lot due to our quick mobility, and it is one of core mechanics of this build, so this fits perfectly. Active abilities that I'm using are Shadow Assault from Assassin tree. This is my AoE attack, next to Bayonet fully charged attack that also hits multiple enemies. I feel like this build lacks AoE, so this is why I've picked Shadow Assault. If you do not like it, then you can go for Phantom Assault from Prometheus tree. It is, however, least used ability and can be exchanged for something else. Then we have Iron Will, which is mandatory, it reduces damage taken. Then we have Concentration from Assassin tree as well, it reduces temporarily stamina consumption, but the effect ends when we take damage. Very useful, especially when we are doing fast attack and then drain attack combo, because that usually takes up a lot of stamina. With this buff active, it is much more manageable. Ranged Impact is fantastic when we are struggling against multiple opponents or versus bosses, or any tougher enemy for that matter. In that case we switch it up to ranged attack that Bayonet provides and deal with them from long range. Well, it's not that long range, it's actually medium range, but we'll take whatever we can. Last active ability is Adrenaline. It boosts attack power even further and it lasts for quite a long time. It stacks with ranged impact for ranged attacks and increased attack power from successful dodge. That's the whole build. Obviously this is for early to mid game. I'm guessing there are a lot more things to figure out for the endgame version of this build, but I'm gonna see it when I get to it. But I'm guessing it wouldn't change that much in the end. Now on to how to play this build. First and foremost, we keep these 3 active abilities up all the time. These are Adrenaline, Iron Will and Concentration. I mean, you don't have to have them up at all times if you are exploring and know that there are just a couple of enemies left, but you get the point. If there are many enemies coming at you at once, like for example when Lost Horde spawns and tries to swarm you, then we use ranged impact to increase our range damage and start charging our shots to do some nasty AoE damage. Ranged attack is also mostly used against bosses. Usually bosses have a couple of phases and they are more dangerous later on, so in a couple of boss fights that I did in first phase I was using mostly melee attacks and then started using ranged attacks as the fight progressed. That would be all for this video. I hope you enjoyed the build and stay tuned for more.